were looking for a mechanic at Suzuki to work for Randy McNamara.
Randy was 17 or something in them days.
Yeah, he was. And you know, all in all, I said to Mick something like, put my name there with the other 500. And anyway, they called me in for an interview. I knew Randy. I met him in New Zealand in '76 when I've been over there. And I knew George McNamara, who was his mechanic, who had worked with Warren Willing in '78 in Australia. So I knew Cross on the other side of the garage.
Dave Cullen.
Dave Cullen, Radar, and Mick Smith. So I didn't know Radar at that time, but I raced against Cross. And so yeah, it's in case at the right place at the right time, and then how do I help?
Bit different for you going over there, Levi. You sold everything you owned.
Yeah, basically just thought, you know, I'm young, I've got to have a crack at it and see, you know, see where it can take me and just enjoy it while I can. And yeah, basically went over there. I think I was fortunate enough, and I think about it now, from my dad's side of it, he sort of said when I was younger, you know, try and get a trade behind you or do something, because if you go over at 16, 17, you might try for a few years and will go broke, and then you've got nothing to fall back on. So I'm a qualified fitter and turner, and so I did that trade back here in Gambier, and so at least I got that to fall back on. It's actually worked in my favour now, because the team I'm riding for in England next year, I'm an engineering company, so I can be working for the team while I'm riding over there, which, you know, is what I need to hopefully stay there for a decent amount of time, because, you know, obviously you're just going to run out of money if you just think you're just going to go there and race motorbikes and do nothing else. You've got to be realistic in this day and age that you've got to try and earn some money to get there. So yeah.
So you've been and had a look in England.
Yeah.
We've chatted over the years and this, that and the other. There's no future in Australia for you, is there?
Basically no, I mean anyone
So
anyone
this has even won the Australian Championship fortnight, got one route on the
that
historic
was only in plastic. Yeah. I mean anyone that's involved in Australian racing knows that, you know, even if you want to get a ride overseas, even if you win the Australian Championship, you're not going to get a paid ride over there. You know, it's quite rare you're going to get that sort of thing. So I thought, you know, I'm spending my own money racing in Australia, I might as well have a crack in England and, you know, race in a competitive championship against some of the best guys in the world. So instead of, oh, absolutely. I mean, we were doing 12 rounds over there versus the 5 here, and it works out about the same money, but I'm obviously riding a lot more. So I think, you know, obviously, if you're not working over there, you're going to go broke real quick. But if I can be earning an income like I will be next year, then I don't see why there's any reason I need to come home anytime soon.
So you've joined that band of South Australian riders.
Yeah.
That's Tommy Larson and
Well, Billy McConnell's still over there, and Dave Johnson's still there.
Dave was going to be here.
Yeah, and Glenn Richards has only just retired this year, so I think he's still going to be involved in it. Yeah, Paul Young's only retired a few years ago, hasn't he? So yeah, there's a good crew of South Australians, and even Australians in general. I think there were 12 this year riding in the BSB, so it's good to have those guys there as well, though, because like Billy McConnell and stuff have been there for a long time, so I could always talk to them about, you know, tracks I was struggling at, and, or, you know, any advice they were always happy to give me. So yeah, that's good.
And it's still like it was when you first went over, the little gang of Australians all sticking together.
Yeah, we got Australia where I am. Well, it was, yeah. And that was just the hangover of the Big Doing era. Prior to that with Wayne Gardner, and before that in my career over there, that I was the solitary Australian other than those years at Suzuki with Mick Smith.
So after Suzuki, you went with Ronnie Haslam.
Ron Haslam at Honda.
And that was doing the British Championship?
Yes, we did the ITV World of Sport series and all of those big events which they had in the UK there.
So you were on the spanners in them days?
Yep, on the spanners, yeah.
Because we used to reckon that Ronnie Haslam, Rocket Ronnie, because of the stats, was push starting then.
Yeah.
You've never done a push start race, have you?
No. I did a Le Mans start at Suzuki, though. I had an electric start, luckily.
I think Ron led every Grand Prix that I ever worked for him because of his starts, but he tended to get past and unable to repass, which was necessary to win. But
Same with Leon as well then.
Yeah, well, Leon was
the kid,
yeah. In those days.
So after Ronnie Haslam, you went with Irv Cannon Moto and Freddie Spencer.
After 2 years with Ron, which was the first 2 years and my 21 years at Honda. Irv Kanemoto asked me if I would work with him on Freddie Spencer's 500s, because Freddie was going to have a crack at winning the 250 and the 500 world title in the same year. So
the only man ever to do it?
Yes. Myself and George McNamara did the 500s, and Stuart Shenton and Gilles was his Christian name, but his surname was unpronounceable.
So, have you got any advice for Levi? Levi's sold out.
Become a mechanic.
He's not had a bad career. He's had a couple of half decent riders.
Levi's just in an awesome position.
You've got to live that dream.
Yeah, you've got to do it, and that's where the real racing is over there, for sure. I mean, Australia's great. I would send a lot of English kids to Australia first before I'd send them, and then send them back to England.
Do you think there's a career path?
There has to be. You have to. You can see the Spanish Federation now does fantastic things. If we don't get support from our motorcycle federations to assist these riders, we're never going to beat the Spanish. And the Italians are now coming back on board like they used to in the old days. It's the federations allowing the money in to help these people. And rather than having 15 dinners a year, it's time that Motorcycling Australia actually got in and put some money behind the riders.
Right on.
It just reminded me of a t-shirt I saw many years ago. It said, Motorcycle Australia, a condom on the penis of progress. So, as a career path for somebody like Levi, you go over there, you have a crash, you've got to give it a couple of years to make all the contacts.
I mean, I think Australia was good to obviously learn how to ride a bike and stuff like that. There's still obviously a lot of competitive riders here. I think it's just more so the championship and the way it's ran is nowhere near as professional as in England, you know. I think in Supersport last year we had maybe 15 bikes on the grid, and so there were the real fast guys that were a bit better supported than what I was. Then there was our group, then the next one, whereas in England there's 45 guys all on the track, and you're always going to be dicing for 10 spots. And so I think it definitely taught me that in qualifying, in practice,
so you turn up for qualifying, and there's 50 guys turn up.
Yeah. And then some of them go home.
There's 15 don't make the cut, and the cut ain't that much.
No, that's right. They'll always make the qualifying time, but it's just if you're not the fastest, 38 or so. But,
Levi, how many people went to Alton Park to watch in the shitty weather?
I think that one was one of the worst rounds, and there was still about 35,000 or 30,000. So that's the thing, it's proper, you know, as Jeremy was saying, on the Spanish was known as well, it's actually set up as a race series, whereas in Australia, it's more just, you know, rocking up and riding for fun, isn't it? So.
Sure.
Back to Jeremy. You've done the double with Freddie Spencer.
Yeah.
You'd signed for HRC, you were HRC man, in '84.
That was with Ron in '83. But yeah, when at the end of '85, after we'd won the double championship with Freddie, the big money from Rothman Cigarettes came on board, and Rothman wanted to have a team structure. They didn't want all that money in if Freddie could be out in the first race the following year. So Wayne Gardner was brought in on equal equipment, which sort of heaved Freddie a bit and heaved Irv a little bit, because they felt that if they had the guy who could do the job, they don't need anybody else. But Rothman clearly wanted more exposure.
Irv was the guru that you've now become.
Yeah, Irv pretty much taught me everything I know, but maybe not everything he did. But, you know, I was given the job by Honda to look after Wayne, and I clearly said to Mr. Aguma, the president at the time, I said, look, I'm really happy working with Irv, and as a mechanic, it's great. You know, I understand my job, I know what I can do, I have time to chat to the girls and do other things. And Aguma made it very clear to me. He said, if you don't do what we know you can do, you're of no further use to Honda. So he was saying that, he felt like he did the job. So as it turned out, reluctantly, I took that job because I'd never been in a position before of having power over working people to tell them what to do. I always worked in the team and as a team person.
When you were working with George.
Now I was basically the guy telling my peers, so to speak, what to do and how to do it.
And
So
these
I had to
days,
learn a lot.
these days you never had the hands on anything.
No, and from that day on, pretty much, I didn't have the hands on anything. It was a case of directing Stuart and Wolf and a few of the others. But it was something very new to me, and it took took me some time to become comfortable with it. But we were able to win the first race with Wayne in Spain in '86. We won Aston in '86, and we won Silverstone in '86. So that was 3 very good races to win. And in '87, we won the championship, which was obviously the first one for an Australian in the 500cc class. So that was fantastic too. We're on the world stage, and out of that, and Wayne's performances in '88, we really have to be thankful that we got Phillip Island back again. People like Bob Barnard and SBS were behind it, and Channel 9, and then everybody got on board, and suddenly we now have a Grand Prix in Australia. So it was all part of the process that started a long time ago.
Had you met Wayne before you got the gig with him?
No, I hadn't met Wayne. I've spoken to him sort of walking in the paddock as you do, but sometimes
So-
you can go months without seeing people in the paddock that big.
HRC's given you the gig, you've never met the guy. Like, have you always got on with everybody you've worked with?
I've always tried to do my job, and riders of the calibre of Wayne, Levi, McNamara, Valentino Rossi, they come to work to win. They don't come to work to play. They want to win. So you're all there pulling in the same direction. I mean, there'll always be times perhaps where there may be a little bit of friction for one reason, or the bike's good and the guy's not delivering, but you don't know if he's had a tiff with a girlfriend or dropped $500,000 on stock. These are the things that the bike was good.
Well, Wayne had a tiff with the first wife that cost him a shit. Donna got a lot.
How happy with the second one?
Yeah. Tony's a good girl. Wayne's over in Spain these days with his boys.
Yes. I've seen more of him now than I did after he retired, because he is back in Europe with the boys, so it's good to catch up. He comes to probably half a dozen races a year,
Because Honda still have this thing that, like, you're a Honda man, like you've been all sorts of different places, but Honda has this thing, if you've been there for a while, and you've been probably 20 years.
21 years.
21 years, they want you forever. Tony Hatton still goes to Suzuka every other year. And he won it in when you were allowed racing.
I've got many friends at Honda, the president of the racing or Honda Racing Corporation now, Nakamoto, and I were mates years ago, and he went on and ran their Formula 1 team before coming back to bike. So, a lot of them are retired too, because of course Japanese at 60, you're gone. So I'm 60, so I'll be gone.
Plenty in the suit too.
Well, as I said to the journalist the other week, I did invest in a shrimp boat, and I did invest in a fruit company. All right.
So after the Wayne Gardner years, another Australian.
Yeah, Mick Doohan, after 3 years of Wayne, when we'd done second in the world, first in the world, second, perhaps the Japanese could see something in Wayne that I didn't really see, but they asked me to look after a new signing they had, which was Mick Doohan. They'd taken Eddie Lawson on board in the same year, in '89, so it was quite disruptive for
Eddie had jumped ship from Yamaha.
Eddie had jumped ship, and Mick had been at Yamaha Superbike and tested in Japan with Eddie, and I think he asked Eddie about Yamaha, and he said, I won't be here next year anyway. And Mick looked sort of at the group in front of him and said, Eddie's old, Wayne's old, this is not a bad position for me to be in.
And Mick had a bit of ambition and drive.
Absolutely, and yeah, I hadn't met Nick, but I went over to Winton on behalf of Honda, just to sort of coach and encourage him and show support and hope that he would sign the Honda contract, which he did. And the rest.
How much money were we talking about in those days? Because you and I had a chat before about how much money they get now. It's not as much as they
Yeah, I think Nick spent his entire first year salary on his apartment in Monaco, which over the years when he sold it to the Russian oligarch for 13.5 million euros, or 14 million euros a few years ago when he owned the entire floor of the building, you know, it was a good start. And he said, I said, Nick, that's a lot of money to be putting there. He said, I plan on being around for a while. So, you know, he had a good head on his shoulders, and you know, the rest is history, so to speak.
So Mick Doohan, different character to Wayne Gardner?
Yeah, I mean, different. Wayne, sure, you needed to sort of pump Wayne up a bit and sort of remind him that he'd beaten everybody out there the week before. There was nothing to worry about. You can beat them all again. I remember trying the same tactic on Mick one day, and he looked me in the eye and he said, "What, don't you think I can do it?" So never had to say anything to Mick ever again. That was it. That's what he's doing.
Very, very different characters. But you've been doing the mentoring thing. You obviously talk to lots of other guys as well that are in the paddock.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a tiny little different way of approaching things, haven't they? Yeah.
For sure, and everybody you listen to, you know, you learn a lot more by listening than you do by talking. So, you know, you don't have to acknowledge it, you just hear a little gem, but every now and again you do hear a little gem and you just keep it to yourself, and when you need to fire that bullet, you can.
So it's so Mick Doohan, you went on and you won 5 world championships.
Yeah, 5 very good ones. And unfortunately, some people didn't see it that way because he won by too much. It wasn't good for the television because Mick was 20 seconds in front. These sorts of things were bandied around, but Mick said, "It's not my job to go slow, it's their job to catch up."
I've watched it like we all did, but I remember a race with Mick when he fell off in South America. And he came back and he just fought through, and he finished up, he still didn't win, but it was just seemed a little bit more, because he looked like it was the whole team. You guys doing all the mechanical things, the Honda was a fabulous bike.
It was the bike of the 90s for sure, and the Yamaha M1's been the bike of the first 10 years of this decade too, so this century. So yeah, I've been lucky to work on probably the best bikes going around in the last 20 years.
Because we were talking earlier, and we just said that there was probably that golden era in the early 90s, where it was 500s and it was Swanson, Rainey and Lawson, Gardner and Doohan, Beatty, Randy Memorial. They were all anybody could have won those races. There was no team really dominant in that era. And does that make a difference, do you think? You know, so the Honda winning 5 in a row?
Well, Wayne Rainey had won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
You know, before that, you know, it'd be interesting if Wayne was still there in those years, for sure. Kevin went on to win one in 93, and he should have certainly won in 89. He